Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Project Blaugrana with you today, and I have decided to experiment. Why am I experimenting? Well, I have seen the reports linking Marc Casado with a move away from Football Club Barcelona, and instead of tweeting, I wanted to make a video expressing my thoughts on the topic. Before I do so, I will ask you guys after watching this video, please give me your feedback because it matters. I want to see if this idea has any potential or if it is a bust. Please tell me if you either enjoyed this format or if you did not quite like it. I will appreciate every single comment. And with that out of the way, let's talk about Marc Casado. Firstly, I want to talk about him as a footballer. What does he bring? Well, Marc Casado brings energy, tenacity, stamina in midfield that is combined with his excellent abilities on the ball and tactical prowess and acumen. He is extremely smart footballer and he knows how to position himself as a midfielder. But not only that, he also offers great defensive stability. And one of the most underrated aspects about him is the fact that he comes from academy. Well, half of our team does, but why is this aspect so underrated? Because Marc Casado is a utility player. He is a squad depth player. He is a player that will not play many games, and a lot of the times players like that will complain. But when you come from academy, and especially like him, he has gone through every single level in academy, and he has also been captain of the team, so he knows what is Barcelona, and he knows our identity, and he knows our culture. He bleeds Blaugrana. Therefore, it is much easier for us and also for him because we can play him less and he will not complain as much. So he offers incredible mentality combined with ability, and whenever he does not play, he will not complain, which is brilliant. So what you get with Marc Casado is extremely good defensive midfielder that can pass the ball, that can tackle, and that can position himself very, very well. And whenever he does not play, he will not complain. So, I mean, it is just brilliant, isn't it? It is just a dream, like for squad depth, like you will not see it anywhere else. So when it comes down to these aspects, him being available, him being fit, him being decent and able to fill in like we saw against Real Madrid last season for perhaps, and against Bayern he had a brilliant assist to Rafinha. He is a player that can come in when there's pressure and he can do very, very well because he understands our system, because he's a La Masia kid. So overall thoughts on him as a player, just very, very good player. Of course, he's not world class and he has flaws like his speed, like his strength. He will not be perfect and he never will be perfect, but he offers very, very good profile. Therefore, I see the reasons and arguments for us to keep him. And now let's move on to the midfield options we already have, especially in those two pivot areas. As we know, Hansi Flick plays 4-2-3-1, and those two positions are occupied by five footballers: Frankie de Jong, Pedri, Gavi, Marc Bernal, and Casado. And keeping Casado in that area is a double-edged sword because if you let him go, you are risking with injuries. And if you get injuries, we do not have any players that play in those areas. But if you keep Casado and we don't have any injuries, you will struggle a lot because he will not get any game time. Therefore, he could start complaining a little bit. So the situation is as follows. Pedri will play majority of the games and Frankie will play next to him. And then the two players backing him up will be Gavi together with Marc Bernal. Both players have suffered ACL injuries, so there is a risk, but I do think that they are good enough to back them up. And whenever Pedri or Frankie are tired, Gavi can start. Whenever Frankie perhaps has a yellow card, Bernal can come in and we can play slightly more defensive. So there is a lot of rotation with these midfielders, but where does Casado fit in? Because when you think about it, right? Pedri will play 70% of the games. Frankie also 70 to 80, both for both of them, right? Gavi will play 30-40%, sometimes starting, sometimes coming off the bench, and Bernal will play maybe like 15 to 20%. Where does Casado fit in that? Because that's the frustrating part, you know? You can keep him as a squad depth option, but he will not play. And that's my question. Is it worth keeping a young player like that and not playing him? As a Barcelona fan and as a team, I would say definitely, please keep him because you, in theory, will need those five midfielders. Because let's say this is an average season, we don't suffer many injuries, but we do suffer few injuries, like one major injury and like 5 to 6 small injuries throughout the season. We will need the fifth midfielder. So in that aspect, keeping Marc Casado makes sense, and letting him go does alter our chances of rotation. But then again, we have players like Andreas Christensen, Fermin, maybe Olmo that can at times drop deeper if it is absolutely necessary. So even if he goes from squad aspect, it would be a small loss, but it would not be something so significant that we cannot deal with it. And then finally, financial aspect of the deal. Well, if you give me 30 million for Marc Casado, I am very disappointed because you're getting rid of one of the more talented and one of the more unique profiles in the defensive midfielder area, because there are not many good defensive midfielders lying around, especially for this amount of fee and with this amount of potential. Therefore, we are in a good driving seat when we are negotiating for this deal, unless we have some hidden financial difficulties about which I would not be surprised one bit considering our board and their actions. Therefore, I would say this: if we are in driving seat and we do not have to sell him, I would easily demand 50 to 60 million for him. And then I would see the deal making sense. Okay, we are selling Marc Casado to Premier League for 50 to 60 million. We get in big money. Maybe we invest it in January for a striker or for a center back or for a left winger. And also, Marc Casado gets a move to Premier League perhaps, and he gets minutes that he needs to develop. But if he get in like 20 to 30 million, it is very, very cheap, and this deal does not make sense because La Liga's financial fair play is strict. We are not in one rule, and we can maybe spend like 5 to 10 million of the fee that we get in from Marc Casado. And we have to remember that UEFA had this ban, not really ban, but fine on Barcelona because we breached their rules and we have to pay them. So all that money could easily go in paying that fine. So in theory, if we get good fee for him, it could be nice, but if we get a measly fee, it is not ideal. Therefore, I would say that if we get offer upwards of 50 million, I would take it. Personally, I would take it. And if we get fee under 50 million, I would be very disappointed in board selling him. And now moving on to my conclusions. Marc Casado is a brilliant, brilliant footballer, and he offers a lot. And for me, if I am biased and I am maybe greedy and selfish, I am thinking purely about Barcelona, I am keeping him. We will have five great midfielders: Pedri, Frankie, Gavi, Bernal, and Casado. We have great rotation, great depth, and we are keeping great players, most of them from La Masia. But if I am looking at it from an objective point of view and from a personal point of view, seeing how Marc Casado could grow, I see the reasons and arguments for him leaving, because think about it. He goes to West Ham, for hypothetical, right? He goes to West Ham, he becomes a starter, he develops beautifully and becomes one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. It is very unlikely, but it is possible. So for me, it would be a move like Gerard Piqué or Fabregas or Thiago did, just going abroad and becoming one of the best players that came through La Masia, but in England. So, from Casado's point of view, I see both sides, because if you stay at Barcelona, you stay at your boyhood team and fight for your spot. But if you leave, you become a star instantly. So, if I have to give simple answer, Casado in or Casado out, I am saying Casado in. Keep him. unless we get offer more than 50 to 60 million, then we can think about it. But Marc Casado has to stay. And this is not the case only for Marc Casado. It is a case for players like Eric Garcia, Hector Fort, Fermin. These are players that could easily become crucial in any team in the world, but if they stay at Barcelona, they will be more for utility players and playing a little bit less, but they have potential to be starters. Just think about it. Fermin leaves and he becomes starter for any team in the world. The development and playing time would be increased and significant. Maybe we would be selfish in keeping them, but they would offer depth. But if they go, they could grow more as players. So I guess that's the small conclusion I can make. These players are great and we are blessed to have them. If you look at the aspect of them growing, maybe going away would be better for them, but at the same time, staying at your boycott team and fighting for your spot and winning something is much more tempting. So, final thing I will say, adding this video, is keep them all. Build this beautiful legacy with bunch of La Masia kids and play the total football, the Barcelona style. This is going to be very, very interesting decade with all of these great talented players like Kubarsi, Yamal, and I can go all day, starting with Bernal and ending with Hector Fort. So thank you guys for watching. These are my overall thoughts on Marc Casado and his sale. Please leave your comments down below to see what I want to see what you think about this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe. If I get enough interactions and you actually enjoy these videos, I might make some more. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. It was Project Blaugrana with you today. Bye.